Well, hello. My name is Dominique, and this is Homesteading for Three if you are new. And if you saw my last video, we made a bunch of strawberry jam. You have 10 jars. They did all seal. Very exciting. That doesn't always happen. But today we are going to make strawberry rhubarb jam as well, because I still have a lot more strawberries. So I got this rhubarb from my parents' house. This is about 8 cups. The recipe calls for 10, but this is all I have right now. So I am just going to, actually the recipe calls for 5, but I wanted to double it. I actually was going to triple it, but I didn't have quite enough. But it's probably like a little over 8 cups. So I'm just going to I'm going to compensate with a little more strawberries. And I think it'll still be really good. So I am going to hull and half 4 cups of strawberries, 5 cups of strawberries, 5 or 6 cups of strawberries, and then we will go to the next step. Okay, so I have my strawberries. Underneath here is my rhubarb, because it's all going to go together in the pot. So I ended up doing 6 cups of strawberries and about 8 cups of rhubarb. So I'm gonna pour it into my pot. It says to combine all ingredients in the pot. So then we need what would normally be 2 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm doubling the recipe, so it would be 4 1/2, but I'm actually just gonna do 4 because I have more strawberries than I have rhubarb and I don't want it to be too sweet. All right. One, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice I pulled out a freezer meal because after doing this, I'm not going to want to cook. So I will be putting this in shortly. It's one of our pot pies, if you saw my freezer meal video where we made that. But now we need lemon juice. I need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice for doubling the recipe. And the interesting thing about this recipe is that it doesn't use pectin. And I've never made jam without using pectin, so I'm interested to see how well that works and if it actually sets up. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients in here. I'm gonna mix it up so everything is covering the strawberry and the rhubarb. And then I'll turn on the heat and this will start to cook down. So I have it over medium heat. It says to cook it until there are bubbles coming up in the middle, and then lower it to medium low heat, and then cook it until it thickens up. So this recipe takes the cooking process takes a lot longer because you're not using pectin. But I ran out of pectin and I didn't feel like going to the store, so, you know. But we'll see how it goes. I'll just be doing other things. I'm actually going to process the rest of the strawberries that I have. I'll show you. So this is how many strawberries I have left. Since I don't have any more rhubarb and I don't really have a recipe on hand that I am gonna make, I'm actually gonna hull these, have them, and then I might crush them and then freeze them, or I might just leave them halved and freeze them. I haven't decided yet. But then I will freeze them in freezer bags, and then once I have a plan for them, I can thaw them and use them for whatever I want to use them for, whether it be a dessert or whatever. But they're super juicy. But I can tell if I don't process these in some way today, they're not gonna be good. much longer. Super good though. All right, it's been cooking down for a half an hour, and you can see how much liquid is in here now as opposed to before. So what I think I'm gonna probably end up doing is once this is cooked down a little more, I'll probably use my immersion blender and actually make this just a little bit smaller. I don't want like to get all of the chunks out, but I also don't want it to be a super chunky jam. So we'll see, but that's how it's looking. All right, so you can see it's bubbling. So I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium low, and we're just gonna stir it occasionally, let it cook down, and let it thicken up, and hopefully it does that. All right, it's been, I don't know, half an hour, and it's thickened up quite a bit. I did not use the immersion blender, but a lot of it has cooked down, so I'm glad I didn't do that, because I think by the time it's done, it'll be really cooked down. So we're just gonna keep it going. Okay, so the jam thickened up, and then we poured it into this to hopefully make it easier to pour into the jars. So we'll find out. Yeah, I think that makes it a lot easier. I'm trying not to spill any because I want to fill as many jars as I can. I'm hoping to be able to fill all of these 12 half pint or quarter pint jars up, and maybe have a little bit more. I did heat these jars up in the oven to make sure that it didn't shock the jars. Yay, okay. So those all fit in there. Hopefully it actually sets without pectin. And then I'm gonna put the rest, because there isn't that much left in here, I'm just gonna put this in a small jar to put in the fridge. Okay, so I took a paper towel with some vinegar and I wiped off the rims, and now I'm just putting the lids on fingertip tight, and we'll get them in the canner. Okay, so now I have all my jars, or my lids on my jars, and I'm gonna put them all into the rack here, and we'll get canning. I only have to do this for, oh, I almost tipped them. Make sure I even that weight out. But then all we have to do is boil it for 10 minutes, so it's not too bad. It's not up to a boil yet. So I'm gonna get these in here. All right, got them all in here. We're gonna lower the tray down. I'm gonna lower these down as carefully as I can. These are short jars, obviously, because they're quarter pints. So I actually really like working with these because I don't have to have the water up as high as I do otherwise. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this water out, and then we'll get canning. Okay. So it's been canning for 10 minutes. We're going to let it sit. I'm not gonna touch it for 10 minutes so it can cool, and then we will get the jars out of the canner. I usually set a timer for cooling it off too, so that I don't forget how long it's been sitting there. If you saw my last video, you saw how my kitchen looked by the end. This is just real life, and this is a realistic representation of what your kitchen will look like after you are done canning. And that was it. We got our 12 quarter pints of strawberry rhubarb jam, and it turned out really well. Thanks for watching. See you next time.